So this is how I make sure my microphones are phase correct. I've been recording for a long time and I know where the capsules are placed inside the microphone, so I line them up accordingly. I use a flashlight to find where I want to hit in the center of the cone. Right here I have a 421U5 from Sennheiser and Shure SM57 Unidyne 3. So these are both vintage mics from the 70s. Doesn't matter. The new ones are just as awesome. It's just a little bit different. A little bit of a difference, not much. So it doesn't matter what you use, whether you're using a Roy or in a 57. When you're using two microphones, you have the potential to introduce phase. And I'm going to show you exactly what phase does. And I'm going to show you how I get rid of it. So whether I'm recording a snare drum, a speaker, two speakers, whenever I'm using two microphones or more, this is the method I use. Doesn't matter if it's a guitar amp or a snare or a kick drum. It does not matter. So what I do is I make sure, whether it's the crack of the snare or a speaker, I find the placement that I want to capture on the instrument, the snare or the amp. And I place the microphones to where the capsules are lined up to where the source, the sound, is hitting both capsules at the same time. Now a 57 and this 421 has a bit of a screen in front of it. The capsules are actually a little bit further back. And I lined them up, I don't know if you can see on the GoPro, accordingly. And now, how do you know? Did you do it right? I'm going to show you exactly how to find out if you got the best position for phase. The preamps we're going through, I had put this together. This is vintage 325 line amps, 312 preamplifiers. So I could record through it with microphones or run a mix through it. So it's in mic mode. You can switch it to line mode if you want to mix through it. It's got 48 volt phantom power. Each channel has a gain for the preamp and line amp and fade for a fader. So you could push the preamp while you're recording to get the transformers to butter up and then pull back the fader. You could also do that in the mix depending on how hard you want to hit the output transformer. It also has phase reverse for each channel. And then another cool feature I added was mutes for each channel. And then my favorite feature is I could hit this mono button, and what that does is it takes both channels and sums them together to one output. So I could commit two microphones to one track in Pro Tools or on the tape machine. I have both microphones coming through tie lines into these preamps. And this is how you know if you're in phase. You listen to your guitar. Flip the phase. Hear it disappear? This is it in phase. This is it out of phase. You flip one microphone out of phase. When that disappears, flip them both back in phase, and you get that full sound when you put them both in phase. That's how you know your mic placement is correct. Listen to it disappear. So if you look here, these are the guitars in phase, the Shure SM57 on top and the 421 on the bottom. You see how the waveform, when it goes up here, it goes up here. When it dips down here on the 57, it dips down here on the 421. I zoomed in real far to show you this, because this is how another way you could tell if you're in phase besides using your ears, flipping the phase in with mic placement on the preamp and microphones. So if you look, see how it goes up here? It goes up here. I can zoom in further, and you'll see this is very far and almost as far as you could zoom in and get. See this double hump here on the 421, if you follow it straight up, it matches on the SM57. And it doesn't matter if you're doing guitars or if you're doing a snare or a kit drum. When you're using multiple mics, this is how you check for phase. This is how I check for phase. I'm sure other people have different ways. This is the way I do it. So let's look at the mics I recorded purposely out of phase. Look what we got here. If you look, see how this on the SM57 is coming down the waveform? Look at the waveform here. It's the opposite. It's going up, the exact opposite. See how they're going down here on the 57 and going up here. Down, up, down, up. It's the opposite. So that's out of phase. And we can zoom in. Look at that, how they're going away from each other, when they should be the same as each other. These guitars are in phase. And then I flip the phase just so you could hear what it sounds like, and these are out of phase. You could hear that they're canceling each other out.